I guess I can start with my slideshow.
Yeah,
Do we have a slideshow?
Yeah,
we
we
have a
have a
slideshow.
slideshow. Let me get it for
Holy,
y'all.
this man needs a
Share my
raise.
screen.
20% over his existing salary.
Congratulations, Arcanic.
Now, we're gonna begin. Welcome to the Exploratorium. Today we're talking about what is rare and really dangerous, and what we look for when we decide for POIs. Big galaxy. There is so much to see. I know I didn't get all the rare stuff in here. This was just a little bit kind of thrown together to have some organization so I can show you guys what to look for, what will show up as in the system map, and whatnot when you find a POI. So let's get started. First, we need to tell you what is not rare. And when I say that, I don't mean that it's not cool to look at. I'm saying that these are more common than you think. So you have pink class threes, super common. I see that happen all the time. Like people say, "Oh, look at this rare class three." I'm like, nope. Happens a lot around a specific temperature. I think it's like 600 something Kelvin. They are cool to look at, but they're common. Next, protostar systems, lots of gas giants or brown dwarfs. That's really what protostars are known for. You see like all the planets and binary configurations, they'll have like 20 orbiting a single star. That's how they are. Sometimes you might find T-Taurs with nothing. Sometimes you might find ones with like 50, 60 planets, but that's usual for that star type. Water world does moons. They I don't know what to say about that. They're pretty common. You can find them really in any mass code beyond B. I've seen them in every single mass code. But I've seen a lot of them in helium-rich systems. But we'll get to that in a moment. Ring bodies with the farthest moon being ringed and having large orbital inclination. You can see that as the background behind the text. That basically is for some reason the Stellar Forge likes to generate a moon with a large orbital inclination around planets with wide rings. Now, what do I say when I say inclination? What I mean? I mean the tilt of the orbit around its body. So instead of just going with the orbital plane and just going around it with the like, if you can imagine looking at rings, you will see the rings edge on the entire time. But if you're more inclined, say 90 degrees, you'll go 90 degrees to the ring. So you go up and down. You'll see it as a disc and then an edge and then a full disc again, and you're going up and down instead of just coasting on the side. After that, terrestrial bodies with the Sol moon orbiting close. The system map will say these bodies orbit less than 0.3 days. These, more often than not, are actually pretty cool to look at. You can get good views from them, especially if they have atmospheres, and especially if the parent body is landable as well. So they are cool, but they're pretty common. Moon orbiting just beyond the edge of the ring. Usually you see these moons orbiting like in zero point 0.8 days. These moons are more often than not just a few thousand kilometers away from the edge of the ring. Depending on the orbital inclination, you can get some cool views, but it's pretty common.
I
Where
think
was
a
I?
critical
Yeah.
thing to say though is just because something is common does not mean it is super cool, and you shouldn't stop yourself from getting excited about something that you think is really cool, even though there might be a whole bunch of examples about it. Sometimes some of the coolest screenshots, like the one in the background there, come from stuff that is not particularly rare.
Also, most of the GEC are these POIs, by the way. Like a good majority of them are these big rings inclined with atmospheres and whatnot. So yes, that is a common like thing, but right now we're like focusing on what is rare, you know. So yeah, it's cool. It's still submittable, you know, people are gonna enjoy it. It's gonna get accepted and whatnot. But yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yes, very good takes indeed. Right, where was I? Earth-like worlds and water worlds, orbiting neutron stars. Uh, they're just they're not exactly common, they're more uncommon, but they're not exactly rare, and they don't provide that much that cool of views either, since they're normally really far away, and you can't see the jets of the neutron stars. Um, Gas giant doesn't influenced by other gas giants or brown dwarfs, especially in helium-rich systems. This is super common. Otherwise, you'll see gas giants orbiting icy bodies, along with other gas giants. It just depends on like the box you're in and just RNG really. Stellar bodies with high intrinsic brightness. So those are the little fuzzy dots you see in the galaxy map, and when you're looking in the skybox, there's little fuzzy dots. I believe that's because they're really bright, but the game doesn't really tell you it is. That's just a way of representing it. Yeah, but those are obviously you'll see them all over the place. Some are still undiscovered, especially like in the core regions. I found a few in Izanami last
Oh yeah,
expedition.
definitely.
So
A lot of them are undiscovered. You can
yeah,
find those similar to other like visual assets in the gal map, like nebula and planetary nebula. You can still see those little glows with all the stars disabled. So that's how some people have been finding them in great
bingo.
numbers. Is the same way that you find planetary nebula. You get rid of all the stars, and they stand out really clearly.
And also that means even in the skybox, like even if you're up next to one, you'll see that big glowy cloud up next to you, which is I think is pretty cool. All right, next slide. Atmospheres. So there are 17 known atmospheres in the game that are landable. Excuse me. And some you'll see all over the place, and some we only have a few examples of in the galaxy right now. So I'm going to show you what is more common and what is not. First up, we should have carbon dioxide. So common, it's not even funny. Now, granted, carbon dioxide skies, especially sunsets, they look beautiful. And I'm going to say that for a lot of those atmospheres, even though they're common, they still have pretty cool skies and views to look at. So, I mean, it just depends on the situation the body is in, where it's at. So, yeah, it's carbon dioxide, super beautiful and super common. Sulfur dioxide, you'll see these usually closer to the stars. And the most I've seen um, bio-wise on these is I think 3 bios, but I never see bios in these systems or these atmosphere for some reason. But yeah, these are all over the place.
Well, it's the famous one
Yep,
that Stratum tectonicus grows on as
that
well.
is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Get some big bank off the Stratum Tectonicus. Ammonia, one of my favorite atmospheres. Um, the infamous red sunset, deep red sunset that you get. You can also get a lot of bios on these planets. There's this atmosphere type also has 2 variants. I don't know why I didn't put them in there. I should have, but this one also has like a yellow sunset variant. Also, I don't know why atmospheres have different variants. They just do. I I don't know how to like find that out, determine that from various like atmosphere characteristics or whatever, but that's just how it is. Argon, also really nice. Usually at the kind of colder side of the system, along with neon, which you're going to be getting to right now. Now this is the alternate version of neon. Usually you'll have like an orangish blue sunset, but this is like one of my favorite atmospheres just because like it just sets that cool like mood, with the blue light. I'd say that this specific atmosphere variant, the blue variant, is pretty uncommon. But more often than not, you'll see the orange sunset of neon versus the neon one. Now we're getting into less common. These will be found a bit less common than obviously the ones we've just gone over. First one is methane. Nice green sunset, and If you're lucky, you might get like ones with more red near the horizon, but this one doesn't have that. It's just green and orange. Nitrogen, if you look outside, you can see it right now. It's also pretty uncommon, I'd say, in the atmosphere types that I can visit or visit. I usually see these as like higher mass systems like G and H. But other than that, I think isn't there like a specific particulate that spawns on these atmospheres, like Opupam or something?
Yeah, there's something, but I don't remember what it is offhand.
Okay, yeah. Nitrogen, neon rich. It's just neon, but with a bit looks more foggy, closer to the horizon. Basically, the exact same look. Otherwise, also found farther out in the solar system compared to closer in. Argon rich, same thing as neon rich, farther out, and it just looks more foggy, more kind of like faded out, washed out near the horizon compared to its non-rich counterpart. Now we get to I'm feeling rich. It's just more rare atmosphere variants, atmosphere types. I mean, this is just carbon dioxide picture because they don't have carbon dioxide rich, but really they look the exact same. Of course, depending on the planet you see, it could vary a little bit, but especially on the with the star type.
I have one. I have to find it though. But I'll
You've
try.
what? Sorry.
I have a picture of that. I just have to find it.
Okay. Helium. Now, the thing about helium is that it's more often miss than hit. So this is a very well lit atmosphere that you're seeing right now. This is near the, I think it's near the Heart and Soul Nebula. You can see that in the top right. But I think you need to be either close or have a star type A or greater for it to be lit like this.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just going to be dim.
A bright helium atmosphere to me is a real treasure because helium already is one of the less common atmosphere types to generate. And when it does, most of them are on bodies which are very far away from their star, and you basically don't get any lighting. So you need to have either a relatively close in planet or one that is very bright, a star that is very bright. And then you get these blue and yellow effects, which are just very dramatic on the surface.
Yes, this is definitely one of my favorites because that like kind of yellow green, uh, blue hue you get that just beautiful. Next, oxygen. This is everybody's favorite atmosphere, it seems like, because it has that really cool pink sunset and that kind of like really bright blue daytime sky. You can find some pretty uncommon bios. The Fonticula fluctus, I think it's called.
Yeah,
I think so.
and
Okay.
bacterium volu, I think, is also oxygen.
Yes. I forgot about the bacterium. Always forget about the bacterium. Yeah, especially you can find these. They're a real treat when you find them in high inclination orbits around their parents. You can get some really nice views, especially if they have bios on them too. Now, oxygen has actually another variant. I don't know how it generates, but it's this variant, which I think is way more dramatic than its more common counterpart. I think I might know how this generates really. I usually find these on like really large radius, high metal content worlds. Like I don't know. I just seem to find them more often there, but I have seen them on like icy moons too. This particular one is actually in the TRAPPIST-1 system, 40 light years from Sol. So if you want to visit an atmosphere like this, you should definitely check it out. It's close to home, if you guys are in the bubble, of course. Now, water. Everybody loves water because it
Time to go
has
to the bank.
collectible bios. Yes, this will get you rich quick. Um, and you can spend, especially if you get a good moon system with like 3, 4, 5 water moons, you're you'll spend like maybe a day going through all of them. You'll get good money back for your time spent. Other than that, it's really nice to look at. You'll almost always find these on like small radius moons or planets. Um, so that means you can see hills curvature better and low gravity, of course. And it's also just really nice to look at.
So voxels that share properties
Yes.
that contain water atmospheres will also contain other bodies with water atmospheres. At least there's a higher chance of them. They cluster within voxels. I don't know if that's true of all atmospheres. It may be. But if you find a water atmosphere and you're interested in finding more, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do a voxel search of wherever you found it, just to see if any others crop up.
That's a very good point. Forgot to mention that. Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah.
It's very important. Water rich. This is, as the bottom left tells you, it's pretty rare. I've only seen a handful of
Yeah, I
these
think I've
first
seen one.
discovered. Yeah, I I think I came across a ringed water rich not too long ago. But yeah, this is a more dramatic sunset for water rich. Usually they're not as yellow as this. But this isn't a bubble, so it probably has something to do with it being like handmade or whatever. But yeah, this is really beautiful to look at. But other than that, nothing really. I haven't seen any bios on it. I don't think.
Nope.
Maybe bacterium. Um, but yeah, very rare. Methane rich. This is the best picture I have of it. And as you see, instead of like the really like faded green, you get a really like rich red color, which I think is awesome. Also, I don't know if any bios are different on this compared to methane. Um, that's I think shoot, I only come across like also a handful of these as well as water rich. Yeah, so out in the black, they're really not that common. Next, very rare atmospheres. This one is silicate vapor. Now, this is an atmosphere exclusive to metal rich bodies. You'll almost always find these within a few tens of light seconds away from the parent star. Um, these, I recommend checking out D mass systems for these, like G type, F type, A type stars. These can have horizons bios on them, unbelievably. And of course, they also very hot. So you will always take damage when you're going out on foot. Other than that, I think there are last time I checked, there's like 188 in the galaxy known silicate vapor landables,
It's less than
right?
200 for sure.
Okay. Yeah,
Very, very
it's
rare. They're very rare.
not a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I if you find one of these,
Do
you're a
share it. Yeah,
lucky
do
boy.
share
Yeah.
it because you found something rare.
Next is ammonia rich. Now I we didn't even know this existed until like a few months ago. I think it was October. I was looking at Spanch. I was like, wait a minute, why is there a landable ammonia rich atmosphere? Right now, there's only, I think there's 8
Yes.
known landable ammonia rich. Yeah. So extremely rare. We don't
Super
know if
duper
there are
rare.
bios on it. What?
Super duper rare.
Super duper rare. Yes. This one is orbiting an A type star, I believe. So it is pretty well lit. But it is, I think that's a really beautiful sunset, like a really golden orange, really beautiful to look at, and very, very rare. So I shouldn't be the one telling you this, but scan your rocky bodies and icy bodies. This spawns on rocky and ice at the moment. So yeah, just be on the lookout. Use Julian's criteria for EDO Observatory Core, and
Yeah,
it'll tell you if you find one of these.
my atmospheric landable criteria actually calls out if you find a rare atmosphere or if you find one that has never been seen before. So, like, say
Mm.
there might be
Metallic
um,
rich or whatever, metallic vapor.
silicate vapor rich or
Dude,
something like that.
imagine.
Basically, any atmosphere that is not currently listed in the table of discovered atmospheres, it'll go, "Whoa, you discovered something that no one has seen before."
Cool.
Hey, Julian, real quick, does your
Yeah.
criteria do it like per region, like OpsCore does with the bioinsights, or no?
I don't think so. No,
Okay,
it's not per
I'm just
region.
asking.
It's just it just I just loaded it up with the table of all of
Just the
the
rarest. Gotcha.
atmospheres that we know exist.
Cool, cool.
All right, I think this is the last. Oh yeah, yeah. Finding landable atmospheres orbiting above protostars. You can kind of see. I don't know how well it shows up on Discord. The sky is like kind of tinted green, a foggy green color, and you can see the star icon is actually colored green because like the flare, the
I know, that's so
glare.
cool.
Yeah, it turns green instead of white, which I think is super cool. And this one also has Fonticula on it, as you see at the bottom, so you can get some pretty cool shots of them too.
Yeah, fun fact, this is where green gas giants are born.
True, very true. We'll get to that later on in the slideshow, actually. Um, why did I? Okay, well, anyway, this is what is rare, was actually rare to find in the galaxy. I don't know where the title screen went for this section, but whatever. Um, Rare Earth-like configurations. These are very rare configurations that you find with Earth-like worlds. First thing is I don't think I've ever found a triple Earth-like system. I don't know if you guys have, but they're few and far between. Especially if they're close together. That's definitely a POI right there. Binary Earth-like moons. So what that is like imagine just binary moons, but except they're both Earth-like moons. I have not seen them either. I don't. Do they even exist? I don't know if they even exist or not.
I don't know that that's ever been found.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if they are
It's
out
a
there and you find one,
possibility.
congrats.
Like if the formation exists, I would say it's a possibility. It's probably
Yeah.
really, really
I
hard to find
I'd say like
like
that's
one
an
out of
HMAS
something.
thing. I feel like
Yeah,
you
but
know.
if the formation exists, then you could think of it. More than likely, it could be out there, but we just don't have proof.
Yeah. Earth-like moons with their own moonlet. That's what you see right here. This was found in Vulcan Gate, I believe, and it was one of the POIs found in the expedition for at the Eldritch Gate. This orbits, I think, zero point 0.2 days, super close to the Earth-like world. I don't have pictures myself, but I think it's on the GEC. So there's some good pictures on there. Super rare to find. Um, I have a few of those, but they're for water worlds instead of Earth-like worlds. But yeah, super cool. Also, Earth-like worlds directly orbiting black holes. I I've never found one of those before, but I know
Neither
one
have
that
I.
orbits four black holes. It's like not even like 10 light seconds away from arrival. Um, so I think that's also no, that's on EDSM, Galactic Mapping Project. I think it's in the WEPA sector. I forget, but yeah, that's super rare. Triple moons orbiting a common barrier center. These I've only found these in helium-rich systems. I don't know about y'all, but I found four of these, and all four instances they were in helium-rich systems. So if you want to find something like this is very lucky because they're close together. Sometimes you might not get these close together. Sometimes it might be pretty far out light seconds wise, but yeah, this is a possibility that can happen. Um, Still very rare. These are actually shepherd moons too, so they're in between rings. But yeah, this if you see this, definitely visit it, check it out. Really good views, especially on one of these surfaces. The picture screwed up. Anyway, Earth-like world with two or more moons, or I mean, two more than two moons, not two or more moons. Two moons itself is very rare, especially even finding one with a moon. But especially like three, I don't quote me on this, but I think the record is four. I don't know. That might be like a catalog system or manually placed. But yeah, this is especially for a ringed Earth like very, very uncommon. I don't think I've found beyond two yet. Also, Earth-like worlds with an atmospheric moon other than sulfur dioxide or carbon dioxide. I think I didn't find it myself, but I've seen one with a argon atmosphere. It's just because they're usually almost always close to their star, and that's just the most common atmosphere types that spawn around that area. Maybe you might find nitrogen as well, but that's that one. Water giants as moons, other water giants, or icy bodies. Currently, as of yesterday, I checked, there are 87 of these known. Um, I've done the checking on Spanch, and apparently, I don't want to say for sure, but I'll say 90% of these are found in helium-rich systems because that's just where gas giants spawn on other gas giants, and I guess water giants are included in that. They could also spawn around icy bodies. I have a picture of that, but I didn't post it. But just imagine a big, massive icy body here. They can do that too. All right, so ringed stellar remnants. They're just super cool. You can get massive, freaking massive ring systems like these, several million kilometers wide. Also, I don't want to say these are not common, but ringed M and K stars, there are a few thousand known, but also G mass and plus. I mean G type and plus. Those are few and far between as well. I don't have any first discoveries of those at all, but I have a few ringed white dwarfs and neutron stars, which are always a nice sight to see for an explorer.
Yeah, and the ringed M class can also be found at G mass, not just H.
Yes, and thank you for that follow into what I'm talking about now, which is stellar remnants as planets in G masses or lower. So apparently, I don't know. This is super lucky, but this white dwarf as a planet is in a G mass system. Now, normally, these systems either are not massive enough or are not old enough to support evolved stars as planets. And as DKO just said, they can also have ringed M types and lower mass main sequence stars as planets. It just depends on the look of the draw. I don't know.
Depends on the
I
area
feel
too.
like they would be
Voxel.
voxel related. What was
Yes.
that?
Yeah, it depends on the voxel. So if you're in like a voxel G mass that you see, like you're going down the list and you already see there's a high number like in the thousands total. If you're going through the list and you see a majority of them are black hole or black hole neutron type variants, then there's a good chance, like the more black holes available in the voxel, the better chance you have of probably finding these, from my experience.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have to agree with him on that because especially age is spread carried around within a voxel, so the voxel will have mostly the same age of stars within it. So that's why you can find similar varieties like this one right here.
Yeah, and the more examples that we're able to have, the better understanding we'll have of what requirements are needed, for these to spawn or what areas or certain,
Yes.
things need to happen in order for these to spawn. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Rare procedure generated Proc-Gen stars. These are I think I've only found a few of these DAZ and DBZ. I found quite a few CJ stars, but yeah, I think there are some regions that have yet to have DBZ stars found in them. I know they've been getting a lot of Astro Codex alerts by Marxanthius and his updates recently, but I think there's only a few that don't have them yet. These are very rare stars. Nothing really special about them other than their spectral type. Uh, as well as CJ stars, again, nothing special. It's just the CJ variant is more common than the other CN and
Less
M's
common,
S
less
S
common.
types. Yeah, just less common.
Yeah. CG is the rarest of them.
All right. K-type supergiants are the rarest type of procedurally generated supergiant you can find in the game. And for some reason, the game doesn't call them K-type supergiants; they call them M-type supergiants, which gives them, of course, you see right here, M, red supergiant, instead of K, orange supergiant. It also says that in the journal, which is what makes EDSM show them as M-type red supergiants, even though obviously they're not.
Do we have
Um,
confirmation this is a bug? Like, did they respond to this at all, or do you know?
I didn't submit anything yet.
So I'm
I
curious if they
should.
said working as intended or not. You know,
Yeah.
I was wondering.
But they do show up in the excuse me, the codex as K types. Actually, this shows for even catalog K type supergiants. It's the same thing. So next time you're in the bubble, or yeah, you visit one of these, and you'll see M type. Also, when you're jumping to it, in the top right, it'll say jumping to an M type supergiant. Green gas giants. Of course, there's only 52 known. These bug planets have a variety of color patterns, color varieties that you can see. Depends on the class. I have yet to find one, of course. Probably when I find one, I'll retire and I won't play this game ever again.
I believe, bro. I believe.
Yeah,
Every day
I
is a new
believe
day.
too. One day, one day. But of course, this is super rare in the Great POI. If you find it,
If you
self-destruct.
find one,
Tell me
here's what you
the
do.
tell me the
Yes,
location.
yes. Turn off your
And
computer
give it to
immediately
Yeah,
me.
and notify Arcanic.
the official rule in IEA is if you find a green gas giant, you are to tell Arcanic the system name and then immediately self-destruct.
Yep. If you found a green gas giant, you didn't. There you go.
Exactly. I guarantee you I will get to it before you can turn it in. Don't even try.
No, these
I
are
can
just
travel
jokes.
half the galaxy in a day.
All that said, Arcanic does get really excited when the notification pops up when a new one is found, regardless. So it's always exciting
Yeah,
news
you can
whenever a new one
ooh,
is found
I should probably
somewhere.
tell them where it's at. The Codex Alerts Discord server under cartographics, that's
Oh
where
yeah,
they'll
the
pop up.
canon. That's a great channel
Oh yeah, could
to share
somebody pop an
because
invite to that
it's got so many
in
different things it
the chat?
covers. I'll
Yeah.
see if they have one. Yeah, hold on. Um,
Yeah, they have a bot that reads the EDDN feed, a live feed, and it'll detect if somebody has a codex entry, a new codex entry not already in the database for a green gas giant. So that's like the only way we get new green gas giants now, instead of other people like manually like sharing them, is
Yep.
that. Otherwise, we would have missed like half of them. Also, I should say that it doesn't matter what star type you visit. Green gas giants can literally spawn anywhere. Any gas giant can become one. I don't know exactly how the ones that aren't dependent on surface temperature spawn. I'm still working on it, but it's just random. More like than win the lottery you'll need. I'm gonna move on from green gas giants to helium gas giants. Um, Most people don't even know helium gas giants are a planet class. They usually think of helium-rich gas giants. These are not the same thing. Helium gas giants are super, 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 super rare. And only 3 of them have been found in 3 separate Proc-Gen systems. 3 of them, and 2 of them have been found in the same month, April 3308, I think it was. It was so crazy.
interesting.
Yeah. So they'll be found to the far right of the FSS spectrum, and they are in the shape of an O. You see the top right there, the little carrots. I guess you can call them carrots. In the shape of an O. They're to the right of the leftmost or the rightmost big notch you see right there. Also, this is another thing that Julian's criteria file will yell at you about.
Yep.
If you miss this, I cannot believe you. But it will most definitely will get a codex entry, and we'll see it there. But
Yeah.
other than
And it
that,
also will show up in the FSS as a helium gas giant. It's not like the GGGs where it will still show up as a class 1 or whatever. You'll actually see it as a different planet class in the FSS.
Exactly. They got their own planet hologram, planet description, everything. Also, another thing of note, they do look like water giants because of that blue atmospheric ring you see in the system map right there. They are technically terrestrial planets with big, massive atmospheres. The Solar Forge determines them as.
Yeah,
Also,
we won't get
they,
into how weird that is.
yeah, I got a whole. I can talk for half an hour about these things, but yeah, just so you know, these are the rarest types in the game. There are a few examples found in the bubble. I think the systems are 52 Hercules and HR 6870. If you want to just have a few in the codex and visit them, see how they look, go to those systems. Check them out. Next, really, really rare. Only a handful of systems have um, gas giants over 36% helium, believe it or not. Um, Obviously, this isn't exactly like a POI per se. Like, you wouldn't really want to visit this, but still, it is very rare to find. I found only 2 systems where the helium percent is over 36. This
Was
one
it
is
HRGG Moon?
this is an HRGG moon, yes.
And those are considered rare?
Uh it not
Oh,
necessarily.
37. My bad. Dude, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
the
20.
the rare
Holy,
the rare
okay.
bit
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah. My bad,
helium
my bad.
Yeah,
percentage.
it's
My bad,
Now,
my bad.
higher helium percentage does mean
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a better
37's high.
chance of weird, cool shit.
yes.
So it is something not just to cheer about finding a rare number, but if you find a voxel with helium content that high, you should be looking through there because you will probably find something really crazy.
You'll find a lot of helium-rich gas giants. That's for sure.
Yes. Also, I'm just gonna throw this in there. If you find a voxel, or it's a system with 34% helium or more, then all gas giants, this besides the water-based, ammonia-based life ones, are gonna be classified as helium-rich gas giants. Below that, it's kind of a chance of whether or not they will be. It's kind of the roll of the dice, but beyond 34%, you will get guaranteed helium-rich gas giants if there are, of course, gas giants in the system. All right, now helium-rich gas giants and class fives in the same system. Now, I've only found this once. The reason being is that class fives only go up to a certain percentage of helium percent. I think it's 31.4%. Beyond that, they are helium-rich gas giants. Now, the reason why it's rare is because A, the lower the percent of helium, the less likely helium-rich gas giants are to be there. So it's kind of like that middle ground, that little gap between where the chance you have a good chance of getting class fives and helium-rich gas giants. Again, this isn't exactly POI worthy. It's just a rare thing that can happen in systems. All right. I don't know how this picture shows up well, but ringed atmospheric landables that are this one only has one known ringed ammonia landable atmosphere. Uh, no one really knows why rings don't show up on them usually, but it just is. We don't have any ringed landable methane atmospheres yet. And of
Isn't
course, I
that
think there's only 2 of these ringed landable silicate vapors, and of course, no ringed ammonia yet.
isn't the ring landable ammonia near the bubble?
That I don't know. If somebody can search up where the SWIFT sector is, and real quick and tell us where it is, just go to like the Adastra map and search it. I think it is,
Or
but I'm
maybe I'm
not gonna.
thinking that because Gadnock did the Gek and he's always in the bubble.
I don't know.
I forgot.
Let's see where that is.
Oh, it's
That
also worth
is
mentioning that there is still yet to, or a helium-rich green gas giant has not been found either. So,
True.
yeah. That's iOS actually. Swifts.
Is it near the bottom? Near the bubble? I mean.
It's east of the bubble. It's in that little notch before it turns into the outer
Gotcha.
Orion spur.
I
Right
don't know
near
what
the
that is. Okay.
path to Colonia.
Also, following what DKO just said, there are 3 classes which green gas giants have not yet been found in. That's class 5 helium-rich gas giants and helium gas giants. Now, I swear to God, if one of you finds a green helium gas giant, you will be celebrated
We
for the
can
rest of this
all
game's life.
uninstall the game
You might as
because
well
we're all
retire.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, there is nothing
Okay.
left to find more rare than that. You
Our
just
gang
ruined my
might not
life.
be around
Thank you.
anymore. Yeah. Please, just don't find one of those. It's,
Yeah, if you
for our
find one,
sake.
just don't.
No, that would be
That would be crazy
epic.
though.
That would be big
Oh my
news.
God. Yeah.
I would just hope it looked
Um.
amazing, but yeah.
It that that's just luck. We don't know. All right, Taylor rings with one or more close moons to the ring. I forgot to even put Taylor rings in here in the first place. Taylor
Ooh,
rings are just really thin ring systems, usually found either with close orbiting gas giant binaries or really close orbiting rocky body or high metal content
yeah.
bodies.
Helium-rich
Um,
voxels tend to have a lot of them. They're quite
yes.
common. They're not that. I mean, they're not like rare, but they're not common either. So
Well, they the really like hair thick ones,
oh yeah,
like
the
really
thin
tiny
ones.
ones,
Yes,
those
yes.
are pretty rare.
The
But
unique looking ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
But now that
but
we
the
have
ones like this are
the obs core telling us, like calling them out for us, like I have noticed ever since adding that criteria, you'll see gas giants just like, the random third one of the system will be a Taylor ring. And it's
Hmm.
like it's not noticeable, but like you can tell, oh yeah, it's a bit thinner than usual. So they're quite
right.
common, but the really interesting looking ones, yeah, those are the ones you're looking for.
The
And just
community definition of a Taylor's ring is with a width less than 1/8 of the diameter of the body. That matches the size of the original Taylor's ring that was found for the GMP.
okay.
And if it has more than one ring, even if one of them is very thin, it doesn't qualify. Although, effectively it still could
Yeah.
visually, but it
Okay.
won't trip the criteria.
They can also occur on moons, as well
Hmm.
as atmospheric moons, and those make for pretty cool sights.
Julian, can you tell us why they're called Taylor's rings?
I can try and remember. It has something to do with Elizabeth Taylor and how she wore rings.
Yes, I think it was her gaudy wedding ring.
What?
Commander Baxter, who found the original one, likened it to the really thin ring she wears. So that's why
Oh,
they
this
call it
was named
Taylor
by the
rings.
community?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is not a real astronomical phenomenon.
Oh,
This is
okay.
an elite exclusive.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next slide. Ah, yes, hemispherics close to binary stars or stellar remnants. So you can get like the two big bright glares in the sky. Um, the mostly you'll find these like usually farther apart, farther away, but like the close ones, especially you can see the jets in the this is a white dwarf. They're like a sight to behold. They're absolutely beautiful. Even this is a sulfur dioxide atmosphere, but you can also get them. I think in carbon dioxide. I think I saw one. Um, I think with nitrogen, but they were pretty far away. But yeah, if you find one of these, you got to pay attention to the system map, like where it says they are. But absolutely beautiful spots these places are. All right, now we're gonna go to what makes for a good POI. Yeah, some things, as we said, they are rare, but they aren't really like particularly interesting to visit and look at. So we're gonna go over some cool things that would be considered POI and what we would like to put on a like an expedition route or we could put on the GEC. Massive rings with a landable view from afar. These are freaking awesome. What you see here is a water giant with I think a 19 million kilometer wide um ring system. These are freaking awesome. And as I said earlier, These wide rings tend to have high inclination bodies as moons. If you're lucky to get one with this, you will be well rewarded, especially if you get like a really high up bird's eye view of the ring system. That is definitely POI worthy. Oh yeah, I'm just going over what I just said. They do tend to spawn farther out in the star system, and especially if you upon arriving in hyperspace, if you see one far away and it's like 6,000 light seconds, you know it's going to be pretty big. And yeah, you got to be careful because some aren't massive enough to be visible, which is just unfortunate. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the criteria is for them to be visible. I assume it's just mass. But yeah, you just
Yeah,
gotta watch
it's
out.
a density thing. The specific formula is it's pinned somewhere in here. I should probably add that in as a criteria, just as a potentially invisible ring sort of thing.
Okay.
I already have a massive ring one, meaning it has high mass, high density. I could just add it to that.
All right. Okay, that'll be very useful finding these things. But yeah, they're always super cool to look at. All right, just another picture. Oh, this is a ringed atmospheric oxygen that I was talking about earlier too. Get some really nice pictures. I think this one's out in the conduit. Bodies with very close orbits to their parent. These, yeah, a less than 0.3 day orbital period. Um, these can't be as close as Midder and Hollow though, the one that orbits the planet in like 90 seconds. But yeah, especially like if you have a gas giant or an atmospheric moon, you can get some pretty nice shots. Especially if you have a nice mountain you can climb. It would be a really cool POI. Oh, and especially if they're hugging the ring system too. I found a few of these where like the moonlet orbiting a moon close to the ring has like a high inclined orbit itself. So periodically it'll go above and below the plane, so you can get some cool shots of that too. Terrain features, yes. You can find a lot of cool moons. You can find that have like really high mountains, just sprawling mountain ranges, as well as really deep canyons that are fun to race through and whatnot. Super fun, and they can make for really cool events. Especially this one's on the GEC. I think it's in the Drogia sector. I think. I don't know, but I should let Basque know where this is so I can put it in the description of the video. It is super cool.
It's near the bubble.
It I think it's
It
it's
is.
in the Inner Spur. I know that, but it's like I think 4,000 light years up
Yeah,
towards
it's not
Sake.
far. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I just realized it has the box right here. Dang it!
Ah,
God, whatever. All right.
that's a
Colored
topic for
Lagrange
another
clouds.
day.
I'm pissed at that, by the way. I'm pissed. All right, these clouds can only spawn within
Yeah, you
around
skipped one.
100 light years from nebula. Um, yeah, they can have a lot of cool features, pinnacle trees. You got solid mineral spheres, especially storm clouds. Storm clouds, I think, are one of the coolest experiences you can have in the game. The atmosphere, you can hear the thunder, the lightning can strike your ship. Your ship kind of moves around, is thrown around by the gusts of wind. Oh my god, so atmospheric, so beautiful.
This is also one of the things that there's a very, very, very good chance that all of them in the whole galaxy have been found because their spawn criteria are very specific. They need to spawn inside a planetary nebula. And unless there is a planetary nebula that has not yet been visited, which is possible but very unlikely, they would then have to be um, they would then have to host a storm cloud inside them. There are only 10 of them that have been discovered in the entire galaxy. So the chances of there, one, being an unexplored planetary nebula in the first place, and two, it just happening to be one that has a storm cloud in it, very unlikely. If you find a new one, you have found something very rare indeed.
More
But
rare than green gas giants, I'd say.
Yep.
yeah, pretty much all the planetary nebula has already been visited, but that doesn't mean that it's been reported that there's a storm cloud there, because Odyssey came out, years later, and some of these planetary nebulas, since there's so many of them, some of them have only had like, if not only that person, only like 3 or 4 people in that system according to EDSM. So it'd be a good project or a good thing to start working on to check them all over time, but you could still visit them because a lot of them haven't been explored recently, so we don't really know if there's storm
True.
clouds. It's not very verified, so that's something you're into.
Yeah, I probably should live with that. It's like they're probably already
I
found.
mean, there's so
Yeah,
many. So if you're in the core, you're probably gonna run into a planetary nebula. That's when I tend to find them. I don't look for them. I'm just, flying throughout and I see
you
it
just
in
see them
my
randomly.
skybox and then I go to it. And mo most recently, I've been to like the last 2 or 3 that I've been to. In EDSM, it only says that 2 people have been there before, and some of them you're able to get your name on stuff if there's landables or bodies that weren't scanned. So there's that too.
Yeah, just another picture of the spaceborne life. Ah, high mass moon systems. This is kind of like a low key thing that most people miss. Um, these systems have a large variety of different uh, body types acting as moons, ranging from, as you can see, ringed ammonia worlds, water worlds, other high motor contents, and gas giants in the same moon system. Especially since these are usually close together, you can get some really nice either time lapses or screenshots. So it depends on the moon system, obviously. But yeah, usually these are found in helium-rich systems, but a few of these are not helium-rich, so they can still be found outside of helium-rich systems. But still, awesome find when you find one. Yeah, you can see the large icy body skirting the rings there. All right, bug protostars. Now, these are either T-Tauri or AEBE Herbig stars. Both of those can be bugged, and they'll be at either 2400 Kelvin, 5200 Kelvin, 7500 Kelvin, and 10,000 Kelvin exactly. There might be more temperatures that we don't know about that can host bug protostars, but at the moment, these four are the only ones we know of. And her big stars can only be bugged at 5200 Kelvin because they don't go hot enough or cold enough to reach the other checkpoints. But they look like this in hyperspace if they are the main star. That is because when you're close up to them in the system, they'll glow pink. So in hyperspace, they cast this really bright, like magenta pink light. Super cool. And when you get in the system in FSS, everything, since they cast a green light, they're going to show up as green. Every single planet, any icy body, um, not other stars, unfortunately, but yeah, even green gas giants, not green gas giants can be green, but not, of course, actual green gas giants. But it's just eerie to look at. But obviously, I don't know if I have a picture of them. No, I don't have it. But they don't appear this bright in the actual system, only in the FSS. They'll appear dark, but kind of have like a little green tint to them. But planet surfaces, they do like kind of have that really weird hue of green, especially as I said earlier in the video. Like atmospheres will have that little green tint hue to them. So that's the end of the slideshow. I just want everybody else here to kind of chime in if you have other like recommendations as to what I missed that are considered rare, whatnot. You talk.
No, I think you covered pretty much everything as far as rare. The only thing you didn't cover, which I'm actually pretty upset about, disappointed rather, Raxla, but that's okay.
Bro,
That's
get out of here.
okay. No, man, it was really good. It was really good. You covered pretty much everything. I can't think of anything else
No, I
off
have nothing else
the
to
top of
add.
my head. So, yeah. But At this time, then, if anyone has any questions, feel free to write them in the box or raise your hand. And if you want to speak, we can call you in.
Hey, thanks, guys. Great slides. Good presentation. And we were in Thargoid territory, and I think Aldebaran and I were trying to get to a Titan, and we encountered the lightning storm, a maelstrom, with the NSPs in them, and they were firing up like the NSPs were shooting a toxic cloud that if you got near them could damage your ship. But can you
those, yeah. Sorry about interrupting you. Those are in the Thargoid maelstroms, right?
Yeah.
And I think those are exclusive to the maelstroms. You won't find those in a random storm cloud out
Correct.
in the black.
Okay, but you wouldn't consider those a POI then, because they're Thargoid generated.
Yeah, it's part of the content that they have added since adding the maelstrom. So it's like tied exclusively to that. Same thing with the spire sites. I mean, the spire sites would be a POI, but that'd be something that like the actual GEC people would want to post, you know?
Okay, copy that.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there are anomalies in different clouds you can find that interact with ways.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He brought that up, so that's a good thing to touch on. A good place to read up on that is the codex. Just go to each region because in every region it's different. And
Marx's Guide to Notable Stellar Phenomena is also an excellent resource for that.
Okay, yeah, he might have a write up on the threads. I mean, I would assume he would.
Mhm.
But yeah, the codex is where you would find out more information about each one or see where they even spawn. And I'm pretty sure there's some that are spawned in a region that haven't been found yet. Or it's still a possibility that can happen. So something to look out
I'd like
for.
to touch on that
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
I do know a thing or two.
Yeah.
So all the anomalies are they have a letter code and a number. So it'll be like L1, et cetera, et cetera. K1, K2, K3. Almost all of the anomalies that have been found have formed complete series of numbers. So K1 through K13 have all been found. So there are two possibilities for new anomalies to be found. One is that maybe there is a K14 anomaly. It seems unlikely if we've already found 13 types and they are all sequential. It seems a little unlikely that 14 was the least likely one that the last one to be found. But it's possible because we don't actually know where the number sequences stop. There's also an L2 anomaly that has not been found. Now, it's complicated because there's another anomaly type that is listed in the codex as L2. So they may be bugged and not exist. I don't remember which one it is, but there's a little bit of a codex mix-up. We don't know if that means that, in fact, there is no L2 at all, or if there is actually still an L2 somewhere out there and the codex mix-up is just coincidental. So a lot of anomalies spawn near or inside planetary nebulas in NSPs, and when Frontier added them, they went back through old GMP points of interest and added them nearby to points of interest that the community had already found. And so it has been kind of on my to-do list for a while to go through some of the really old original GMP POIs and just start searching nearby to them to see if maybe there's one that nobody's looked around that Frontier put L2 anomalies next to many years ago.
I actually might. I don't know if it's how I remember it, but I think the L2 type anomaly are kind of bugged because of the K10 type anomalies.
That's the one. That's the one that that is it's marked as L2 in the codex, but it doesn't necessarily mean that one or the other doesn't exist. They could still both exist, and it's just kind of a weird codex miscommunication. That's why it's complicated over whether it may or may not actually still be out there.
I
Right.
have two things real quick. First, going back to what you said about the K, like 1 through 13, we
Mhm.
found them all like in a series. Are there regions where we're missing some in between, or they're all pretty much filled out?
No, I believe L2 is the only sequence breaking anomaly
Okay,
that has
so
not been located.
okay, so that's why you were talking about the number 14 would be the one to look for brand new.
Yes. Yeah. If we found another anomaly in any of the other sequences besides L, they would be at the end of the number sequence.
Okay. And Frontier could always add that in a future update if it's
Yep.
tied into the Thargoid stuff, so just keep that in
Sure
mind.
could.
But the other thing I was saying is we keep mentioning that some of these things that um, we don't have proof of or we don't have a lot of examples of that, might be something that's worth paying attention to or getting like a lot of interest focused in on so we get more, research done. If you want to head any of those or you have like a project like that you'd want to do, oh, these anomaly thing. I want to see if there's a 14. Let me see if like, but I don't want to go at it alone. The Canon Discord is pretty good about like if it's up to par with with their approval, they'll let you create a channel in there, and you'll be able to pretty much like run the project, get people to join it, promote it in a way. That's what they did with the last Guardian Beacons thing where they lit up all 30 of them. Um, it was in that thread, and there's currently like 3 or 4 other ongoing ones still. So if you have any like idea of doing a project like that, Canon's a good outlet for that.
Definitely. Okay, when I'm looking for stuff in the codex and trying to find if something is nearby, I can view locations of individual entries in the galaxy map, but then when I want to look at another one, I have to go all the way back to the beginning and it's kind of clunky. Is there an easier way?
Oh, I know what he means.
I'd say
No.
EDSM or Spanch. Do a
Yeah, or
EDSM or
even
Spanch
ED
search.
Astro.
Not in the game, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the game. You'd probably have to use EDSM or Spanch to do a search result, like a search query on it or whatever, and then, you know, go about it that way. Because yeah, it does only list that one system, and then you want to see other ones, or you might want another example, because that one's kind of boring or it's not the color you expected it to be. In that case, I would just go to EDSM or Spanch and run
No,
a result.
you're not missing anything. The codex is just kind of a limited tool.
Yeah, leave it to the community to use a third-party function as like a workaround.
Yep.
But yeah, the codex is actually very useful if you're ever in a new region or if you ever come across something that you might think is not common. You could always double check there, or if you want to see something that you've never seen before that's particular to a region, it's always good to take a look at every once in a while.
Well, it looks like that's going to conclude our session then.
Think that's a wrap.
Cool.
Awesome.
Oh, there's one more, JP Ryan.
I was just going to be
Welcome.
silly and just say, what is girl from Ipanema?
All right, let's jump into general. I'm gonna stop recording.